Promoting economic cooperation and development in all fields of human economic activity and socio-cultural endeavor is at the heart of the establishment of the Economic Community of West African States, Ecowas, in 1975. It is made up of 15 member states. Member states of ECOWAS occupy an area of 5.1 million square kilometers, approximately 2 million square miles. It has a population of more than 350 million people skilled in diverse areas. Land remains a major route for the free movement of persons in the sub-region. Day and night, citizens of the 15 member states of ECOWAS are on the move towards enhancing their economic well-being, and on the move to maximize their rich socio-cultural diversity. Since the birth of ECOWAS 44 years ago, the sub-regional organization continues to adopt protocols towards transforming the ECOWAS of states into an ECOWAS of people. This informed the adoption of the ECOWAS Protocol on Free Movement in 1979. However, after 40 years of its adoption with other policies and legal frameworks, ECOWAS continues to be inundated with cases of harassment at the border, extortions by law enforcement agents, vulnerability of citizens not in possession of valid travel documents, and trafficking in persons as well as smuggling of migrants. These remain impediments that hinder free movement within the ECOWAS sub-region. To redress the various impediments, ECOWAS developed an action plan against trafficking in persons and the new technology-driven travel document known as ECOWAS National Biometric Identity Card, ENBIC, to replace ECOWAS Travel Certificate. The objectives of the ENBIC include to improve free movement capability and facilitate economic and social mobility within a more secure area, to promote and enhance mobility in the ECOWAS space, and to mitigate irregular migration and fight trafficking in persons.
La carte nationale d'identité biométrique de la CEDEAO a cette valeur de participer à la sécurisation des citoyens lors de leur mobilité dans la région.
What do ECOWAS community citizens, ECOWAS border community members, transporters, law enforcement agents and other stakeholders need to know and do to support the deployment of the ECOWAS National Biometric Identity Card and fight against trafficking in persons? What are the challenges faced by these groups? This was the basis of the advocacy and sensitization campaign on the ECOWAS National Biometric Identity Card and fighting trafficking in persons covering Lagos, Semekrake border of Nigeria and Benin Republic, Cotonou and Hilakonje, Salve Konje border of Benin and Togo. From 23rd through the 27th of April 2019, the ECOWAS European Union International Organization for Migration, Support to Free Movement of Persons and Migration in West Africa, FMM West Africa Project, and other partners and stakeholders left nothing to chance in pursuit of sensitizing the general public and relevant stakeholders on the gains of the ENBIC on free movement of persons and the importance to fight trafficking in persons in the West African region. The campaign started at Mile 2 International Motor Park in Lagos, southwest Nigeria. Here, transport owners and drivers were mobilized for the advocacy and sensitization campaign. Promotional items and permanent banner unveiled during the campaign continued to draw attention to the positive intent of the advocacy.
They give us this card, we're happy. If we reach there, I'm Ghana driver, I'll show them this card, whether they allow us to go. I can pay that money again.
Amowo Dofin in Lagos, Nigeria, provides the right environment for the focus group meeting with transporters and drivers. ECOWAS Commissioner for Social Affairs set the tone on the topics of ECOWAS National Biometric Identity Card and free movement.
Whether it's to traffic young people as workers in other countries other than their country of origin, and whether they're crossing borders supposedly to beg or to engage in other unlawful activities. These are all issues that are of concern to us at Ecowas, and Ecowas has been doing a lot in this area to protect people, especially the young ones, from being trafficked across borders.
Road transport employers and drivers remain key players in trade facilitation and economic development as they transport ECOWAS citizens from one location to another. Prince Oyinola, the Secretary General of Road Transport Owners Association of Nigeria, expressed the need to redress challenges affecting free movement.
We want to plead with all the agencies concerned with the border corridor that we need partnership with you. There must be a partnership between the transporters and security agents along the borderline, where we share information and reportage of wanton events.
On their part, the drivers say with about 32 security checkpoints and extortions on the 65-kilometer Lagos-Seme road, it is a Herculean task operating with a sense of mission.
There was a day when they dropped my passenger because of 2,000 naira. They said they go shoot me, they go shoot my motor. Now beg they pay them, find money, give them.
Every time, what problem? Problem for migration, problem for police, and problem for all over road safety, all of them.
All the drivers here can attest to this, that 80% or more of those passengers don't have a passport. What do we do with them?
Responding, the Chief of Mission of the International Organization for Migration stresses that migration is an age-long phenomenon, while the Nigeria Immigration Service and others helped on the uniqueness and operation of ECOWAS National Biometric Identity Card.
I think it's important that we should be responsible. It's important that we should be responsive to what we are supposed to do.
We cannot suppress migration. What we should do is to make sure we facilitate migration, and whenever somebody decides to migrate, that he or she does so in a safe, orderly, and documented manner.
On the issue of trafficking, the drivers claim that identifying trafficked persons is usually a challenge, except where children are involved. Their position could not exonerate the drivers, as the transporters were held to account on the need to double their efforts in identifying victims of trafficking in persons, especially cross-border trafficking of girls and women.
The transporters, please, before you board anybody, they must show you an identification card. Leave it to the officers at the borders to decide whether they are fake or they are original. But before you board them, they must show you an identification. If they don't have an identification, then they cannot go anywhere.
What I think should be focused on now is the awareness of every single ECOWAS citizen that they have the right to free movement. And it is a very distinct right as of this moment in time within Africa. With every right, we also want to stress that you have obligations. You cannot just, forward, I have the right to this, but you have an obligation. The obligation to ensure that you have everything on you when you cross a border. That will also facilitate the border guards or the border managers to apply the movement, the principle of free movement.
Lagos-Seme Road remains a trip of reality as the advocacy and sensitization campaign team witnessed firsthand the dilapidated state of the road, which continues to negatively impact on free movement. Seme is no doubt a defining point for economic activities. At Seme-Krake border, the campaign team welcomed the participation of community leaders and residents on the message of ECOWAS National Biometric Identity Card, free movement and fighting trafficking of persons.
It facilitates movement. One, you don't even need, because on that card, every detail that about you, every detail that concerns you, the whole data about you is there. So once we just swipe and get it, just go.
Et maintenant, la CEDEAO peut bien mettre en œuvre la carte nationale biométrique. C'est quelque chose de formidable qui va permettre au tourisme intérieur de Ecowas de progresser. C'est pourquoi je suis venu saluer cet événement pour que le tourisme à l'intérieur, le tourisme à l'intérieur de la CEDEAO puisse se faire le plus facilement que possible.
La cellule de l'intégration a pour option de lutter contre le trafic des êtres humains, de faire des campagnes de sensibilisation, souvent par rapport à la libre circulation des personnes et des biens. Et à cet effet, nous avons eu plusieurs fois à organiser des sensibilisations ici à Grand Popo, comme à Semekrake aussi, et à Ilakonji de temps en temps.
If you don't enforce what the card stands for, then it doesn't mean anything. So the border officials have to respect it, the governments have to issue it, and then the carriers have to make sure they also respect it and carry it for what it is.
The Nigeria-Benin joint border post embodies free movement even for the physically challenged. Semekrake joint border post also provided a platform for Nigerian and Beninese law enforcement officers to highlight their obstacles and best practices with regards to the enforcement of the Ecowas free movement protocols and mitigating irregular migration, as Ecowas Commissioner says the tone.
Elle est un grand facteur de libre circulation dans notre espace.
What was the position of the law enforcement agents?
Donc si nous devons travailler avec cette nouvelle carte, il faudrait qu'on trouve des solutions et qu'on remédie à ce problème aussi vite que possible. La carte biométrique, oui, elle pourra faciliter le passage à toute la population, que ce soit du côté du Nigeria comme du Bénin. Parce que là, ici, nous sommes confrontés à ce genre de problème au niveau des riverains surtout. Il y en a la majorité qui ne possèdent pas de passeport. Ils n'ont même pas du tout, des fois, des cartes d'identité nationale. Et nous sommes obligés de leur retourner. Donc, ils empruntent souvent les voies de contournement pour entrer dans l'un ou l'autre pays. Donc, je pense bien que la carte biométrique serait la bienvenue parce qu'elle nous permettra de régler ce problème auquel nous sommes déjà confrontés.
It's a wonderful initiative by Ecowas. It will help in the control of movement of persons within the sub-region.
Cette initiative de la CEDEAO est une très bonne initiative. Naturellement, ça va nous permettre aujourd'hui d'appréhender toute la fraude et de lutter efficacement contre diverses sortes de trafics et les fléaux aujourd'hui qui nous entourent. Je pense que nous devons remercier la CEDEAO pour cette initiative-là. Une très 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 belle initiative.
The interaction with law enforcement agents gave room to the Ecowas Commission to respond to all comments and concerns.
Existing machines will be able to read the cards because they are all ICAO compliant. But it is dependent on the member states to supply hand readers, basically. Ghana has done that, Senegal has done that, I'm sure Benin will also do that. Now, for Madam, you also said a recommendation, we will take that on board. But in the meantime, the reason why we have joint border posts is for operatives to share information. What happens, which we all know, if you get somebody's card and you are not too sure, you can send somebody. Intelligence is how we use to ask information from immigration. They will give you details and then that information is clearly shared.
We need to work closely with other stakeholders at the border post, including CSOs, CPOs, those are community-based organizations, other local actors that can help you, especially in caring for victims. Of course, you must work across the borders closely as well in intelligence sharing that has been mentioned. You have to work using community policing techniques in the local border areas as well.
The
The Cotonou Stakeholders Town Hall meeting in Benin Republic set the stage for government officials, policymakers, law enforcement, civil society organizations and others to discuss and stress on the importance of the ENBIC and fighting trafficking in persons. At the forum, the Beninese police chief extolled the Ecowas initiative and the role of law enforcement in achieving the task. As the IOM chief of mission, who moderated the town hall meeting, says that IOM remains a partner in achieving their objective by ensuring orderly and safe migration, as the ambassador of Benin Republic to Nigeria expressed government willingness to take appropriate action.
La tradition étant ainsi sacrifiée, il ne reste qu'à souhaiter un bon séjour au Bénin, à nos hôtes, dans le cadre de cette campagne de plaidoyer et de sensibilisation sur la carte nationale d'identité biométrique de la CEDEAO et la lutte contre la traite des personnes.
Gives every single community citizen the right to migrate within the Ecowas space. But it did actually say a citizen in possession of a valid travel document. So if a person is moving without a valid travel document, how do you know he or she is who they say they are? So it's very important to have those documents and to inspect the documents to make sure that they are authentic.
Parce que nous, en tant qu'ambassade, nous recevons beaucoup d'enfants qui sont là-bas, aussi au Nigeria, et qu'on retrouve dans les rues, qu'on nous amène, et nous devons prendre les dispositions aussi pour les retourner au Bénin, à la brigade des mineurs, ou même parfois c'est des adultes, des gens qui ont plus de 27 ans, qui se font berner et se retrouvent dans cette histoire de traite des personnes. Alors je reste peut-être ici même, on en parle. Hier, on a eu l'occasion d'en parler à Lagos. Autour de la table, il y avait les transporteurs, il y avait tout ce que vous voyez ici comme monde. Et ça s'est vraiment bien passé. Il n'y a pas eu de langue de bois. Les gens ont parlé de leurs problèmes, la main sur le cœur. On les a écoutés et on va chercher des solutions à ces problèmes-là.
The Ecowas Commissioner for Social Affairs and Gender made a thought-provoking presentation on human trafficking. She provided historical background to efforts of ECOWAS from initial action of 2001 to 2003, 2006 ECOWAS Joint Plan of Action to the Multilateral Cooperation Agreement adopted in 2017 and effective 2018 through 2022. She says apart from the Protocol on Free Movement, the Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance is meant to strengthen the fight against trafficking in persons.
The Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance obligates member states to guarantee children's rights and give them access to basic education, enact special laws against child trafficking and child prostitution, and adopt laws and regulations on child labor.
Members of the civil society organizations, the police, and participants raised more perspectives during the interaction on what to do with rescued victims of trafficking, capacity building, and victims of trafficking trust fund.
Je dis bien les communautés résidentes. Quand je parle des communautés résidentes, je parle du Burkinabé, du Nigérien, du Sénégalais, etc., qui vivent dans les différents pays de la CEDEAO. Ceux-là sont des acteurs de l'intégration au quotidien. C'est ceux-là sur lesquels on expérimente les lois. C'est eux qui peuvent vous dire, c'est des consultants en matière d'intégration. C'est des acteurs sociaux, économiques et culturels.
We cannot be hiding under the guise of protocol of free movement.
The Director General of NAPTIP, who expressed the need to revive the Nigeria-Benin Technical Committee on Combating Human Trafficking, established in August 2003 to address evolving challenges, but became moribund in 2012, also responded to other issues raised.
Border community, we should have a relationship with them and have meetings from time to time. They can give us information as to what is going on, as to those who are involved in human trafficking.
The campaign trail later moved to Joke Motor Park in Cotonou, where transporters and drivers received the advocacy and sensitization team. Here, one of the transporters laid other drivers in raising issues of concern to them, which they said remain impediments towards achieving Ecowas, ENBIC and free movement, especially as it relates to law enforcement and harassment.
Eux aussi, ils sont de la partie. Ils ont 4 ou 5 postes à raison de 1000 naira par poste.
We say also there are road safety on this corridor too, and there are 4 or 5 checkpoints, and all of them collect 1,000 naira each.
Everything in Monisa, Nigeria, we do from border to go to reach a mine too. You go counting like 33 checkpoints of police and the custom. If you want to put a custom again, you go see like a 70. We don't know where the free movement is in Nigeria. We don't see. But we enter Benin from border there to go Ghana. I swear to my God, we no go see any police on the way. You go see them, but they no go talk anything for you.
The ECOWAS team and other stakeholders responding highlighted the uniqueness of the ENBIC in addressing their fears, while contact information of the Nigerian Immigration Service was released to the transporters. Concerns raised on trafficking in persons were also addressed, underscoring the need to raise awareness among transporters and drivers on trafficking in persons.
Very important for them to share very useful information with the necessary authorities. We have the Nigerian Embassy, we have the NIS, the Nigerian Immigration Services, and they can always contact NATIC.
Up next on the campaign trail was the Benin Republic and Togo law enforcement of the Hila-Konje-Sanve-Konje border. Here, the engagement of law enforcement officers was one of priority, given their roles in facilitating free movement of persons and fighting trafficking in persons at the border. The interaction was led by ECOWAS Commissioner for Trade, Customs and Free Movement, Tai Konzi.
Important. Sinon, un matin, un voyageur vous présente un document, vous n'étiez pas prévenu, vous pourriez ne pas comprendre si c'est une pièce produite par un faussaire ou bien c'est un document authentique. Eh bien, cette séance-là répond à cette question.
Divergent issues revolving around free movement and the ENBIC as it relates to a reasonable number of citizens traveling without required documents were highlighted.
Donc c'est la raison pour laquelle d'abord cette carte d'identité est très importante. Et également il faudrait que nous arrivons à identifier les passagers, les usagers. Parce qu'aujourd'hui, vous n'êtes pas sans savoir qu'il y a tellement de réseaux, de réseaux criminels, de réseaux de terrorisme. Et il faudrait prendre des mesures pour mieux sécuriser son territoire. Il faudrait connaître ceux qui entrent et ceux qui sortent.
The position of the Advocacy and Sensitization Campaign team at the forum is apt. Time for border community sensitization. Here, economic activities remain at its height as residents of Benin and Togo share a common environment at Hila-Konje. The Hila-Konje community was agog as visible materials made rounds at the Hila-Konje Motor Park, the venue for the sensitization. ECOWAS and her partners set the tone. Though French is the official language in Benin Republic, about 55 native languages are spoken. Here, the Advocacy and Sensitization Campaign team adapted one of the native languages known as Bay with French interpretation to effectively send the message. Data from ECOWAS, an international organization for migration, IOM, indicates that about 90% of traveling citizens of the 15 member states do so within West Africa. Of the about 350 million population, 65% are reported to be under 35 years. These expert summit present huge youthful human resources yet to be harnessed for development.
What we have in West Africa, what exists in the subcontinent, in this sub-region, is that you have a very vibrant youth with a lot of energy. And what is absolutely necessary as we know with young people, they have energy. They have to put that energy to use. If they don't use that energy, they'll be in the streets. So we have to tap into that energy and put it to good use, get them to work.
We have a very good region, rich. We have also youth. We have also very beautiful tests that will encourage skill mobility under the right of residence and establishment. So spreading skills across the region where you find that you have shortage or gaps in terms of relevant skill, you can spread them across the region.
Although the Ecowas Commission has seen successes in the adoption of free movement protocol and initiating policy frameworks, the issue of implementation remains a challenge.
When member states agree on certain activities, implementation usually is a problem. But then there are processes. Every member state is quite unique in terms of the way they acquire things or fully adopt regional decisions in their member states. I am very sure that these are some of the processes that has sort of delayed other member states, because for some it should be in their budget. If it's not in their budget, obviously they may have other priorities as well. But then that is the more reason why we are still carrying out advocacy and sensitization at the very highest level.
Yes, there might have been challenges, but now others can learn from other countries that have implemented it to say, how did you do it? How did you overcome the challenges? Well, okay, it means that we can learn from you, and obviously we will see faster progress in the coming years.
From the position of experts and stakeholders, the time is now for all member states to implement the ECOWAS National Biometric Identity Card and intensify action on the fight against trafficking in persons. It is believed that achieving the task through consistent advocacy and sensitization will raise more awareness among political leaders and community citizens alike, as it opens up opportunities that would make the economy of the ECOWAS sub-region the envy of all.